Hola, buenos dias, and aloha. Hola, aloha. It's been a long trip to get here, and we're really grateful that we made it, that we have as much time as we have together, and our hope is to get the slides to progress with this, which isn't working. And our hope is to deliver as much value as we can in the next couple of days to inspire you. Yes, good. To inspire you in your own exploration of these topics, to help inspire you that in terms of TecMilenio's amazing ecosystem of learning, that you're on the right track and that you're leading the way, it sounds like, here in Mexico, and to give you some practical skills to help you thrive and survive in really complex and challenging times. So a word of advice, and the first mindfulness practice here is pause for a moment to look into your own mind and see what are some of the questions that you're sitting here with. To know how to wonder and question is the first step of the mind toward discovery. So what are some of the questions that are floating in the clear space of your mind? And to begin to recognize those. With mindfulness, we learn to pay closer attention to what's going on not only outside of us in the world, but inside of us, in the interior dimensions of ourselves. So what we like to share in the short but precious time we have is a few beads on a larger rosary of different practices, ideas, data points, a sampling of some of the best methods that we found, the most useful ideas that we found. And we'll trust that for each of you, you'll find some jewels in what we offer that are really precious for you and special for you and how you live your life. As Einstein once said, curiosity is really a vitally important element of doing our inner and outer research. So from the brain research that we've done over the years, we've found that this quality of curiosity is really the foundation for developing mindfulness skills and learning more deeply in these ways. So wherever you can, just notice where the curiosity is for you as we go along, and follow that curiosity and see what new horizons or dimensions of possibility that might open up for you.
Buenas tardes. Gracias. We say that there are three primary core elements of mindfulness. You can put them up. And these three core elements are attention, intention, and attitude. So we'd like to just experience these, to drop in a little deeper together as we begin. And to actually right now, just begin with attention, to become aware of what you are awake to in this moment. Where is your attention right now? Just to notice that. And notice also who you're here with, the space around you. Notice your physical body sitting on the chair, how it feels after lunch in your body. What is it like to be alive right now? Just take a moment to be as fully present here as you can. And in this quality of presence and attentiveness, listen into your heart, into your mind, for why you're here. Why? What are your interests, perhaps? What is it that you'd like to learn or develop, grow more strongly within yourself? What is the larger purpose? What's really important to you? The intention. The intention guides our attention. If we're clear on what's important to us, then we will notice, we will pay attention to that which will help us to grow in those ways. We'll see the books on the shelves that will be helpful for us. We'll notice the people that we want to develop a closer relationship with, and we'll notice different things in nature that will help us also. So being clear of our intention organizes our attention. That's an important principle. And then the attitude with which we pay attention is crucial. It's so important. And as Joel said, attitude of curiosity, of openness, is very, very helpful. If we think we know already, then our attitude is a bit closed, then that limits what we can learn, right? We've all experienced that. And also to have an attitude of compassion, of loving kindness, of being gentle and merciful with ourselves in these, as we cultivate greater mindfulness, also helps to support and sustain our practice, our cultivation. And other attitudes, there are many that you'll discover, but to have an attitude of really looking deeply, investigating with this kind of quality of open-heartedness, open-mindedness, but to discern what's really going on, looking carefully, being attentive with that quality of intention in the present moment. Okay? So we want to go into intention a little?
Let's do the pulse check, okay?
Okay.
So let's experientialize these a little bit. On a scale of physical energy right now, just tune into your physical energy. It's after lunch, in the afternoon, with your hand in the air from down here really tired and not feeling well to up here feeling great. Hands in the air, what's your physical energy right now? Are you about here? Are you up there? Down here? Okay.
And how do you know that? How do you know it's
and
here?
Look around the room. This is an exercise in collective mindfulness, okay? So you can get a read on 250 people like that, physical energy. And then the question for you is, how do you know that it's here instead of there? Okay? What are the metrics that you're paying attention to on the inside that allow you to distinguish between down here and here? Okay? And get curious about that. This is what mindfulness is all about. How about emotional energy? Kind of sad or depressed, not in a good mood, and up here, totally positive attitude and emotional state. Hands in the air. Good conference so far. Great. That's wonderful. Okay, happy, yeah. And mental energy, kind of dull and fuzzy, sleepy, and clear and awake. What's your mental energy? And again, how do you know? How do you distinguish between those, okay? And how many of you found that as you were doing this exercise that at some moment you smiled to yourself? Yeah? Raise your hand if you smiled to yourself. Like, this is kind of weird or cool or interesting. Keep that smile, okay? If you're in a lot of ways, it's like if you're practicing mindfulness without a smile, you're trying too hard, okay? You want to have a curious mindfulness, open-hearted mindfulness, wow, look at that sadness kind of mindfulness where everything is kind of interesting and fascinating, okay? So for a moment, just look around the room. Just be mindful of your surroundings. See 3 things in this room or 3 people you haven't seen before. Okay? And just, brighten the light of your awareness as you look around and just see what it's like to really be here. When's the last time you were in a room with 250 people who were really awake?
Really showing up.
And attentive and really present in the moment. This is a miracle. And you're not in church, okay? Or in nature. Okay? Then look into your body for a moment and just find something in your body you're aware of, your breath, your hands touching each other. Okay? Feel your hand touching your cheek. Yeah. And just connect with reality and then look into that a mysterious space of the mind and see what kind of mind clouds are floating in the mind sky, okay? Thoughts, images, narratives, associations. So when we talk about attention, we're talking about waking up to the full spectrum of your human experience on all frequencies and all experiences, and welcoming all those waveforms of experience into your lived experience in the moment, okay? And then intention. Just pause for a moment and listen for what's your intention in coming to this session. It may be simple, it might be complex, it might be to meet colleagues, it might be to learn skills that save your life because you're afraid you're going to die from stress. It may be curiosity, maybe to escape the work you have on your desk. What's your intention in being here, okay? And then see if you can add to that intention a harmonic of for the benefit of all, okay? For the benefit of your children, your family, your students. You know, may I learn how to manage or master my stress, not just for myself, but to be an inspiration to everybody I meet about a positive, centered, calm, clear leader. May I learn to come to greater healing within myself, greater well-being, not just for myself, so that wherever I show up, I can be a beacon of somebody who's not a troublemaker and all stressed out, and maybe kind of somebody that people go, oh, yeah, I'd like to be like him. Calm, centered, listening, present. So, in clarifying your intention, to realize there's a personal aspect, but then there's a larger aspect, a societal aspect, a family aspect, a universal aspect to the intention. And I'll give you a clue up front. If you are interested in learning and practicing these skills just for yourself, to become more effective, to become less stressed, what have you, that's useful, but if you're doing it for a larger good, you're going to have so much more energy and dedication to learning that it will be more sustainable. So let's look at the intention like this. As you sit here right now for a moment, envision yourself sitting surrounded by all the people sitting around you, and sitting with all of the people who you work with, and the students who attend your universities, and all the people in your family, and your soccer teams, and your church groups, and your clubs, and all the people who you have some influence over. And then imagine all the people whose lives they touch, and all the people whose lives they touch, and all the people whose lives they touch. And can you imagine leaving this couple of days together a little more peaceful, a little bit more wise, a little bit more present, a little more capable of living in the world with less stress? And can you imagine how far the ripples of your influence of what you learn here could reach? How many hundreds or thousands or tens of thousands or millions of people who the quality of your presence, your wisdom, your love, your activity can ripple out and touch, okay? If you were to put some numbers on it, how many people's lives might you touch over the next 5 years, directly or indirectly, through just the quality of your being moving through the world? Just call out some numbers. 1,000, how many? Other numbers?
Directly or indirectly?
Yeah.
Hundreds of thousands, millions? Yeah.
So what I'd like you to do, and I invite you to keep coming back to this through the afternoon and tomorrow, is when you look around the room and you see all these people, see all the people who these people are connected to and connected to and connected to, and the thousands or the millions of people who are also in the room with us, and learn for them, listen for them, practice for them. That's really where these practices start to make sense. Even though at a personal level, you'll get tremendous value from them.
Do you want to do the poll?
Yeah. Okay. How many of you have had any formal mindfulness training in the past? Okay. How many of you have a daily meditation practice of any kind? How many of you at times in your life recently have felt really stressed?
A lot more
overwhelmed? Okay. So I'd like to ask how many of you at the end of this seminar tomorrow will use the practices that you've learned to be less stressed? Okay, great. And how many of you really sitting here at a personal level are interested in these topics and learning more? Okay, great. Okay. And how many of you hope to learn well enough that at some point you'll be able to help others, your children, your students? Great. Fantastic. Well, it's an honor to be here with you, and we look forward to helping with that. Want to do the call?
Yeah, so what we'd like to do together is give some theory and principles, and then a fair amount of practice together. And so this morning just setting up some of the main guidelines.
There.
We were talking about attitude, coming in a little bit more. There's a acronym of COAL that's here. It's interesting because coal, we know, isn't a renewable resource. But as for meditation, for mindfulness meditation, it is. Curiosity and, now, see, in Spanish, we have a different acronym, but maybe it's a better one. Curiosity, openness, acceptance, and a loving quality of heart, a loving kindness.
Beautiful.
Kata.
So another triad to keep in mind, especially in terms of this quality of attention, is that there's a quality of openness, objectivity, and observation that's here with this. And so one of the assignments we'd like to give to you is how many of you have noticed that your mind has been distracted or wandered off to something else even since we began today? Raise your hand. Okay. That will happen. You know, you'll think of your child in school or a client you're working with or some project you're working on. The mind will go off. Here's your assignment. Whenever you notice your mind has wandered to something else, name the file. It could be your daughter or the project. You know, name it, click it closed on your mental desktop, and come back. Okay? Come back to feeling your body sitting in the chair, listening to us, being aware of your surroundings. There's no problem with the mind wandering. In fact, if you were to get 1 point for every moment of really listening and continuous attention, we give you 10 points for every moment that you notice that your mind has wandered and you come back, okay?
So it's that recognition. That's the moment of mindfulness. And that strengthens your mindfulness muscles. Oh, my mind just wandered, and you bring it back. Just like how many of you work out in the gym or do some kind of strength training? So you know the repetitions is what builds the muscle. It's exactly the same thing with mental training. The more repetitions of moments of mindfulness and coming back, resetting, and taking a breath, arriving back here, now, that is what builds your capacity to be present.
Table check-in, maybe 4s.
Yeah. I was just going to say one thing that, just kind of a working definition that we use about mindfulness is that we are intentionally paying attention. So it's a practice. It's not something you just fall into until it becomes really integrated, and that's just how you are. But as a practice, You're intending to pay attention with this quality of clear observation, recognition, and this kindfulness attitude. Mindfulness and kindfulness are coming together now. So in the present moment, with this larger intention. So we'd like to do another mindfulness exercise right now at your tables. So this, I think with maybe groups of 4, so like half a table, to do something you're probably pretty used to doing, which is a check-in, right? Connecting at meetings. But as a mindfulness exercise, we'd like you to, in small groups of about 4, to just check in with each other. You probably know each other's names, but if you don't, to introduce yourself. And then a statement of current reality. So in this moment, it may be how you're feeling physically or what you're emotionally feeling or what your intention might be, but just what's true for you in this moment, just as you look into your experience right now. Simple, short, brief, and then speak to your intention. So we'll have attention and intention as an exercise and as a way of mindfully connecting with each other.
We'll just take about 5 minutes for this, about a minute per person, current reality and intention.